board meeting at Hibbing Public Schools, ISD 701, April 9th, 2025, 3:30 p.m. Daylight savings time, excuse me. And on behalf of the board, I'd like to welcome everybody here. And with that, we'll move to item 2, Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand if you wish. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. With that, we'll move to item 3, public comment.
Yes, we have Miss Linda Larson signed up today, and then I don't know if you did a form, Linda, or just if you give us a topic, maybe if you'd like to come up to the podium. Yeah, thank you.
So my topic for this is just overall communication in a positive way. So
Thank
that's
you.
Let me know when I can get started.
You're
Okay.
good to go. Yes, thank you.
Good evening, members of the board, administrators, and community members. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Linda Larson. I'm an English teacher here at Hibbing and an advisor for both Youth in Action and Student Council. I am here not for criticism of these incredibly difficult decisions that you must make today, but to talk about the need for continued connection and commitment to our community. Over the last month, I've heard the question asked, what more can we do right now for our community to help bridge any communication gaps in the new information coming out? Not someday, not after things settle down, but today. I bring this to the board with full awareness of how heavy this past month has been. The recent mining layoffs have hit our community hard. Families are reeling, and the uncertainty is real. In light of that, it feels impossible to ask more of our community now, but as it has been discussed in previous meetings, we will need to do so. Our community has shown up for us continually. Hibbing Student Council hosted the 2025 State MASC-MAHS Convention this last weekend, which impacted over 300 students and advisors from around the state. Local businesses were phenomenal to work with, and they made such an impression that students and advisors from across the state raved about how incredible Hibbing and its community has been. That kind of feedback isn't just encouraging, it's affirming. It reminds us that what we're doing here matters and positively impacts our community. Our students are also taking all of this to heart. After the agenda came out, some students did come to me asking, can we start a petition to save the teachers? And I love their passion. However, instead of just pushing for signatures, I challenge them to continue to serve and communicate opportunities that our staff has provided to them. During my time as an advisor, I've watched students volunteer over 3,000 hours. They served at an event to fund a canine for the Hibbing Police Department. They volunteered for the AAW book sale, and they have presented at conferences and conventions about the initiatives here at the high school. Not for recognition, but because they see the needs within our community. They're learning that leadership is rooted in action. What I've seen over my 4 years here is that the community cares about us. They want to be informed, they want to know that we're working together, and in most ways we are. Through our activities, athletics, career academies, and other initiatives, we're building partnerships that give students real-world experiences and lasting purpose. And so as we move forward today and so on, I kindly ask that you consider, how can we invite the community into these conversations now? Please consider adding additional school board roundtables at alternative times and in different locations throughout the community to increase accessibility and invite more participation. How can we continue to lead through action, service, and visibility? Please consider community-centered events where staff, administrators, board members are shoulder to shoulder with students with the purpose to highlight Hibbing's commitment to our community while asking for support. How can we keep building clear and consistent communication, especially in ways that involve and empower our students? Social media is a powerful tool. An idea that students have liked is a consistent social media series, which they came up with a title called Fiscal Fridays. Our student body president or other students would regularly meet with you, our superintendent or administrators, to learn about school funding, how it works, what decisions are being made, and where we're seeing success through grants and donations, and share with the community. These short student-led videos could break down complex information and build transparency and trust within the community. With all of that being said, I understand that you likely have a plan in place to advocate for funding within our community, and these are just a few ideas that students have helped come up with. I want to sincerely thank each of you for the opportunities that I've had within the district. I recognize the weight of these decisions is enormous, and your work matters, and I will remain proud to be a teacher here in Hibbing. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Real nice. With that, we'll move to item 4, administrative reports. Turn it over to Superintendent Rick.
So, thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're welcome.
For directors, do we have any directors' reports?
I do. Chair Burkett and Linda, thank you. My report was going to be just attending this weekend the Student Council State Workshop, and it was absolutely amazing. So to have that many students visit this school and the amazing comments was absolutely unbelievable, and as I heard, it was something that we had not hosted since the 1970s. So it was amazing, so thank you.
Thank you. Student director? Nothing. Item B, administrator. Rick.
Yep. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're welcome.
First, we have Mr. Please, Mr. James Please, our activities director, that's here to give an update on our booster club. He's got some information for the board in the form of a trifold flyer that should be in your packet if you'd like to take a look at it. And go ahead, Mr. Please. Thank you.
Yep, no, this was my turn to present, so actually I was going to start off just by wanting to recognize, because later in the agenda you'll see Pete Heiduch's resignation, and we also lost Bryce Wally was resigning from alpine skiing. Those coaches have put in, Bryce was about 12 years in as an alpine ski coach, and Pete's been 35 or so years as our involved in girls hockey. So I just wanted to recognize the commitment and the years that they put into these programs to help make them what they are today. And then this was added at the behest of a few board members. So I guess I'd open the floor up to you guys, because I understand there might have been some questions. One question I can answer, why wasn't this rolled out this spring? I guess in my mind, with everything else going on, I was going to kick off the school year next year with a booster club head coaches meeting where this would be rolled out, and this would be the, the kind of the Bible of booster clubs moving forward. I borrowed heavily from the Duluth and Minnetonka school districts, so I don't want credit going to me for crafting this. But we presented it once before, and Bonnie Sturl, our auditor, was impressed with the work that was put into it. And again, I made sure to deflect that to Sibley Hanigman, my administrative assistant, who put most of this together, and the other districts that have this, the framework set up for us. So that's why this didn't go out in the spring. It just felt weird to throw it out during the spring, 2/3 through our sports seasons. So I'm going to roll it out this fall, and hopefully some of the stuff we've been doing, some of the stuff it will take some time to adjust to, but that's kind of where we're at with that. And then I guess board members, if you have any questions, comments, critiques, feel free.
Of course
Director
I do.
McLaughlin, no,
Of
I'm
course
shocked.
I do.
No.
I appreciate this
No problem.
because I think it's a long time coming, and first and foremost, I believe we have to protect our assets, with our most precious one being our student athletes, or students and student athletes. So I'm very happy to see the hiring process included in here. I think it alleviates a lot of tension that sometimes happens within booster clubs. And certainly we can't control the work the booster clubs do, but in the MSBA rules, it very clearly says that we're required by law to control the business of our school district. So that's the objective of this. And my question, comment, willing to roll up my sleeves and help, or maybe get booster club volunteers to help. There's some very specific purchasing and hiring rules that are set forth in here. And I think we have to help our booster clubs. I don't think it would be fair to just throw this out
Yeah.
to them. So I'm wondering what kind of procedures, forms, documents we're gonna have in place to clearly and easily, most easily implement this for everybody, for the booster clubs, for the business office, timelines. So while I appreciate us rolling it out in the fall, I want to make sure that we have the right pieces in place, because even as coaches start putting together their staff, if there are going to be volunteer coaches, you know, what that looks like, how they put that forward so they can get the funding to use, so they can go through the hiring process. If they want to start making purchases and they have to be through the district, what does that look like?
Yeah, there's a form that we're working on. It's again borrowed from the Grand Rapids School District, where it is just a single page PDF that's an agreement to pay a booster paid coach. And then we would get the money beginning of the season, hopefully sometime, well, before we pay, because we don't pay our coaches until after their seasons conclude. So as long as we get that check prior to, then we would issue the check, and we can either hang on to it in payroll or just not cut the check until we verify the booster club has given us the funds for that coaching position. Purchasing wise, everything does already go through a PO process through our office, whether that's myself or Sibley. So before we approve any purchase orders, we would make sure it's followed up with, you do need a check before we order this, because we don't want to be stuck with, you know, $7,000 in football helmets and no one's paying for it because we don't have that kind of budget. So, and that's an example, they haven't done that, but yeah, that's the part of the process that'll change, because in the past we've just ordered, and then once the equipment gets here, we'll invoice the booster club. So we just have to flip that order, but I think it's something that we've been communicating to our boosters and our coaches, and hopefully it's a process that'll be somewhat well received.
Well, and I think the other thing is too, you know, the payment for volunteer coaches is one thing, but I think the process needs to start to the background checks and all that.
Yeah, oh,
Yeah.
I
So
pardon,
how do we
any,
do that?
even the, well, that Trina's been on that, we've done that all year. If it's $1 paid coach or whatever the coaches tell us the stipend will be, I draw up the contract. If I have the dollar amount prior to contracts being issued, I will have that contract for them to sign, otherwise they get the generic dollar contract. And then they fill out the employment packet. Trina meets them at the door, we hand them everything, they give us a check for their background check. So we have been doing that. I mean, it's not spelled out anywhere, but we've been doing that process, so.
So will we start seeing then the hires for the dollar? I mean, if they are, according to this policy, our employees, even if it's $1, will we start seeing those on our consent agendas then?
That would just be at your desire, if you'd like to see those.
Yeah, so that is a good question, because when a booster paid coach leaves, we haven't typically asked for a letter of resignation because it's booster paid, so.
Yeah, why would we see that?
Yeah.
And actually, I feel like there's a whole conversation that probably happened before here, and there's a lot of people who don't even understand anything that we're talking about right now,
Sure.
to be honest. So I feel like we need to back up of the reason why we're even having this conversation, why it's come up about boosters paying the school for coaches. I mean, some people are aware, other people aren't, but if you're not aware, this conversation is probably
flying
very...
over. Yeah,
So I think we need to back up.
sure.
I guess I'm looking at it, with a 501(c)(3), what, does the school have the right to accept the money from a 501(c)(3), being that it's a nonprofit? And we're gonna be the facilitator, basically, for that money? I guess I refer that to Alec. I just have, I know how they work, sort of, and I guess I'm not sure if the school district is in position to accept money to pay for a coach if it's a nonprofit and there's no tax or anything involved in that, correct?
I don't believe so.
So, that's my question.
You know, our MSBA policies, we have to accept donations from our booster clubs, and we're supposed to be accepting those under resolution.
So we have to have it brought before the board each time we go to use it as for a coach or for equipment or anything else.
But I mean, are we forcing these boosters now to make the donation just to pay for a coach?
By what I was told from Bonnie at that meeting, it sounded like, yeah, that's the process we should be following, is any booster paid coach should funnel through our business office and then receive the check through payroll, not just a cut check from a booster club. That was my understanding, and I very well could have misunderstood, because this is new. As a longtime track coach, and I've paid booster coaches in the past, and we haven't funneled it through payroll, so.
Right, and I know, I mean, I was in that meeting with Bonnie too, and I understand, you know, there's things that, there's procedures, there's a best practice. I mean, there's things that are maybe in the gray, and if it is really that we're just pushing it when it doesn't necessarily have to be that way, it's an extra step. But like going to what he's saying, it's one thing to be taking donations and it for being for equipment. It's different if we're making a donation and having to pay a coach. I mean, not everything is the same. And you know, and with Bonnie, I mean, if she's done our audits for how many years, and it's now coming up. I mean, we've sat in different audits and things have been repeatedly on that as a comment, and no changes have been made. So, I mean, I feel like we're quick to jump to this.
But what if there are stipulations to it? My 501c3, I want it to go to a salary,
You
or
want
I
to
want it
tell?
to go to a certain area. You see where I'm coming from?
Right, that's
Are there-
fine. That's fine.
Are
I'm
there
just,
strings attached to it? I don't know either.
Some of the problems I have with it, Chairman, which is that there's two entities you're looking at. If they're buying equipment, I understand that. Sales tax is involved. If you're paying an employee, well, it's basically the school district now, you got social security, you got everything else including that. So there's two different types of entities there. And I just want to make sure,
That's what I mean, get that straightened out.
make it clear which one it is.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, without booster clubs, we aren't going to have athletics. I just want to make that very
Right.
clear.
So I would encourage everybody to go online to the MSBA's website. At the MSBA Leadership Conference, I actually sat at a round table with this Tiffany Gustin. So they have and she pointed me to this question and answer, and one of them is, can booster clubs hire additional coaches? And that's very specific in here. And one of the question is also, must school boards take action to approve donations from booster clubs? And there's also an MSBA model guidelines for outside organizations supporting school districts. So I think it answers a lot of the questions that are being discussed here today.
I don't think we're questioning, can we take donations from a booster club? That's not, I don't think we're questioning that.
Okay.
I mean, sure, we can take them again for equipment. This is, when it comes to payroll, paying a coach, it's different. Now, James, I've recently had conversations with a booster club specifically, and I guess my concern is, are we doing this to put policy in place because of issues with assistant coaches being requested by the head coach being paid more than the regular base salary for that? Meaning, if assistant coaches in our current policy is just, let's say, and I have no idea how much this is, I'm just throwing out a number, $3,000. Booster clubs are aware of that, they're fine with that. Now it's being asked for them to now pay that same assistant coach $6,000. And people on booster clubs, 9 times out of 10, most of the time are parents of those players. It puts those parents on those booster clubs in a hard position to say no to the head coach without feeling that their player will have less playing time, be treated differently, parents having maybe a ruffled relationship with that head coach, then nobody wants that. So it puts everybody in an awkward position. So I just like the honest answer. Is this why we're putting this in place, to alleviate that and getting the booster clubs, those parents, out of that situation, and then just having it be a flat pay rate to that assistant coach, so we don't run into issues where they feel that they're expected to pay them more.
So I think I know what you're referring to, and this was in place before I heard about that issue. So, and it's based off of like, and I get, like, I guess what I should have paused, this isn't going to go into effect until you guys tell me we should do this, because it is under suggested practices. And like I said, I just changed it to Hibbing instead of Duluth Public Schools, but boosters should not pay any coach directly or play a role in the amount a coach is paid. So that does leave that into, like, is it the coach making that call? Because I don't think the school district should be telling the booster club or coach what a booster club should pay their coaches. If there is an agreement in place and you want us to come up with a pay salary schedule, we could certainly do that, but that was not my intention with this. I guess I
So there's not a
presented,
current policy in place as far as what we pay assistant coaches?
it goes off of what the coaches request, yeah. It's, the coach will request the booster club to pay X amount for, and I've seen it like, up until this year, I've got very limited knowledge, cross-country and track, what I asked my boosters to pay my coaches. I never supplemented someone that was getting a paycheck from the school, so they didn't get like 3,000 and then an additional 3,000. It was always those extra coaches that we just don't have enough spots for, so I asked the booster club to, give us a stipend for their time.
So right now, from the school, is it only head coaches that are paid directly from the school?
No.
No.
Everybody, anybody?
There's a salary schedule of all of the different positions. I think it's page C2 in the teacher's contract. Is it C2?
Yep.
So that's listed. Everything we pay from the school district, we're not mandated to fill year to year, but we do a pretty good job of filling each position. And then when the coaches want extra help, and I'll tell you, I could pull up the spreadsheet, but majority of my sports pay a booster coach, at least one. Football, hockey, some of those bigger sports, they pay multiple booster coaches. The coaches come up with a number. I've heard some coaches earmark 4,000 yearly for their booster paid positions, and they might give it to one person. Boys hockey split it between 3 people because he wanted 3 more bodies.
So right now, our booster clubs are paying them, and we're asking them now, according to this, to switch that.
Funnel it through to pay us, and we funnel it through our business
And
office.
strictly because of our audit.
Well, I think, so, I agree with Director DeBarty that maybe we should back up here a little bit. Because I think the reason that this came forward is that we really didn't have a lot of knowledge of what was happening with coaching staff, right? And we hire a head coach, we hire the assistants, we hire the junior, those people all come through here. The booster, or the coach will say, hey, I need another C-team coach, or I need another 9th grade coach. Boosters, will you help me out? They do, right? All of a sudden, that person just shows up on the court the next day, no background check. The process hasn't been happened, paperwork hasn't been filled out. I think all we're asking here is the process would still stay the same. If the booster club wants to add a coach to any of our activities, right? They're gonna approach you and say, here's the money. They're gonna add a coach to girls basketball for $3,000. We run that through the board, we do the paperwork, we do the hire. I think it's cleaner. It's not putting onus on the booster club that they have to pay for all our coaches. They would still suggest what they're paying for. Right, James? Am I saying that right? They're coming forward with the suggestions. We're
It
not saying,
doesn't
hey,
alleviate
hire 2
what
coaches.
you said, like the head coach probably still is driving that bus of, I want this person at this rate. So that is still going to be a problem unless you guys tell me we should take over and make me make up a salary schedule. That wasn't my intent, but if that's the direction of the board, by all means, that's something I can sit down and do. I think the process was, as you said, like we had a few coaches, I'll say even this winter probably, that didn't fill out any paperwork because the process has just kind of been, I need an extra coach, I got so-and-so to come and help out. They show up and they coach, but now they're riding our bus, they're with our kids. And my school board and administrators, no clue they were part of the program. So it's less about the financial side, the way I was viewing it was more about cleaning the process up of whether it's $1 or if it's $5,000, we're filling out the paperwork, we're getting the background check, everyone's on the up and up. You're right, the pay process, the weird awkward conversation, if the booster club doesn't agree with the head coach, that's not being cleaned up by this. And I guess I don't know what the easiest way to clean that up would be.
I just want to clarify, this isn't us. I mean, this is us managing our risk. This is, I mean, like, it cites the state statute in here, and when the auditors audit, they audit to some authoritative document, a statute. And in my opinion, you're exactly right. There's some audit findings that I think a school board, any business entity might say, you know what, we're willing to accept the risk, right? But in my opinion, this is just one board member's opinions, there are some things I'm not willing to accept the risk, and the way things are in our world, right? Like, I just think to accept a risk of not knowing who's on that field or who's on the ice or whatever with our students is something I don't think we can be too careful about. And so that's kind of the statutory piece of it. But then it also talks about booster clubs can't hire our coaches. Those are our district employees. So if you read this, it cites the state statute. So I believe if we're hiring, unless we put a different classification of employee, when you look at our pay schedule and our coaches, if the golf team wants to hire another assistant coach, then we have a salary schedule, and we would say, okay, whatever golf and assistant coaches at 35%, we'd go to our salary schedule, whatever the number is, and say, okay, then that would be $3,633 plus whatever payroll taxes, and that would be the cost of hiring. I mean, if you look at this, in all of these statutory, they become our employees. These people are not the employees of the booster club. The booster club says they want to hire another assistant coach, and I'm assuming you're saying an assistant is named by the head coach because that's how we hire all head coaches. But it says in these documents, if there are employees and we have to hire them.
So we've been doing it wrong for over 20 years is what we're saying.
I don't know when the statutes came into being.
I've been on the coaching staff in this district for years, and every time I've applied for a coaching position, I went through a background check.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. I mean, I even know too, like Safe Sport, I mean, have you reached out to any of these booster clubs?
About this process? No, I have not.
Because, I mean, I'm on a few, and I can tell you, even just being on it, if you're a board member, you have to take the Safe Sport. So there are things in place. Just because maybe we here at this table aren't aware, doesn't mean that they're not doing it. And I don't know. I agree with a lot of things on this booster club brochure. I disagree with a lot of it also. James, I know I've talked with you recently about the United Way being interested or having a resource for booster club members, just because there's a lot of, well, everybody who does it is a volunteer, which is wonderful, but there's a lot to take on when you become a board member and you're working with that money and the legalities behind it and the safety of things. Have you received any additional information on that free training, if you want to call it, to provide?
Was that coming from Ms. Shake?
Yes.
Yeah, no, I have
Okay.
not seen that yet.
Because I do think that is huge, and I would encourage anybody and everybody to do that. I mean, it's a great resource. It's going to be for free, but I mean, I can be in contact with Aaron, you can be in contact with me, but it's something definitely to move towards. But you brought up the bus, and I do have a question about that.
Sure.
I mean, I feel like this is a no-brainer, but I guess I need you to say it out loud, of who should be riding the bus to our away games.
Our paid employees, our coaches, right, and our student athletes, and that's occasionally I've fielded a question, can my wife ride the bus? She's whatever, can't drive, don't want to drive home late, or there might be special circumstances where, you know, that comes case by case and we may allow it. For the most part, I've had a bus driver ask if his spouse could come with before. But I guess technically it should be our coaching staff and our athletes, and I guess that's where I would draw the line normally.
And I asked that because I've known about spouses, like you've mentioned, but I've also been contacted and I'm aware of like siblings or coaches' children also riding that. And again, is there a liability? Is there a risk? Should that be allowed? Is it case by case basis? Is it going to be
That's a good
coach's
question.
discretion? But I think we need to lay that out and make that clear also to your coaching staff.
So, you know, the other thing is, this lady does an amazing job. There's also a lady, a law firm that did another lengthy session at the MSBA, and that room was a double conference room, packed. I mean, obviously, we have questions, and I think we need to better support our booster clubs. Maybe something we should get on our schedule sooner than later, although the United Way maybe has something for nonprofits. I think we should maybe get in contact with the MSBA and maybe have them help us through this. And and let me back up. This doesn't just apply, in my opinion, to booster clubs. It applies to any 501c3 that's affiliated with our school. I mean, it talks about in these documents, it applies to our PTOs. So I think, you know what, we've all seen recently things that happened in Duluth, things that happened in Nashwauk. That's fortunately not with students, right? That's cash assets. But we're talking about safety of students. We're talking about helping booster clubs make sure that, you know, whatever we can do without crossing that line, that we're providing them with information on whatever we need to make sure that the school board, you know, is controlling the business of our school district. And that includes only doing business with entities in good standing and meets the statutory definition of good standing. I just think we have more work to do in this area, and I think we better get on it because Paul's going to be here and coaches there are going to start making decisions.
I just have another question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So when this all rolls out, and we are then getting more donations funneled through the business office, what does that timeline look like as far as I make a donation to the basketball club for new basketballs, it's $3,000. I understand you fill out paperwork, that goes to the business office. How long should that take before before you, the basketball coach, gets that check from the business office?
I guess the turnaround time is variable depending on when the paperwork gets dealt with. I don't have an answer because I'll sign that paperwork from Sibley and we'll send it up to the business office, and I don't have an exact day turnaround for that.
So Alex, because we ran into the issue with the volleyball donation that took 7 months to receive only because we requested it, and I don't know how that gets lost, that it doesn't get corrected. That was in the time frame of the audit, so you would have thought that it would have been caught, would have been corrected, but had we not asked for it, would we ever even have received that? So if things are going to take that long, that is an issue because booster clubs can't wait that long to get their money. So how long should that take?
Well, I don't know what happened with that check in particular, but it shouldn't take that long, absolutely not.
So 2 weeks?
Yep, I can do that.
I'm confused. Wait, no. The school's giving a check to the booster club? What was the question? I missed it, I'm sorry.
There was a donation given
Yep.
for the volleyball club that went through James, through the business office for equipment that the volleyball club never received,
The equipment?
or the money. Nothing,
Because according to our policy,
that isn't in place yet.
that isn't in place, but it's, okay, the proposed policy, the booster clubs, in this case, i.e. the donation, goes to the school, and the school makes the purchase. Booster club doesn't make the purchase, the school makes the purchase.
Again, not in place, so that isn't the way that things have been working, so it
Right.
didn't go that way. So yes, they gave us the check when we asked for it.
I think we're kind of blowing this way out of proportion. I just think that once we give Mr. Please the opportunity to put this thing together, with the concerns that you have, me, and Ms. McLaughlin over there, that we can have a written documentation, how we're gonna proceed, how we're gonna accept money from booster clubs, how we're gonna pay them out. Most businesses, if you can give them 30 days, that's great. If you're the mines, you get 90. So, I mean, I think if our business office can pay back with the money that they already received within a 30-day period, I think that would be fine. But I think that all should be written out so that the booster club knows when they get the money, that they're gonna get it back, or the item's gonna be paid for, whoever they buy it from within that 30-day period.
We can tap the MSBA attorney too, so that,
Yeah, she's very
and see
good.
what's done all across the state and the statutes and get it together.
And I can work with Mr. Please, and I think we can come up with some.
Yeah, this is kind of the product where it's at, and it's being presented because I know there were some concerns. So, yeah, I'm looking for guidance on this. It's our baby, it's not just my baby, because that's where we're at with that.
I think the biggest thing, Mr. Please, is we can keep a coach's employment separate from a football helmet purchase, wherever it is, that it would give the business office a better chance in understanding where that money's going, how to tax it, not tax it, and how we're gonna do that. I think that'd be the best way to do it. But again, I leave that up to you to come up with that format so that we can present it or work with Alex to get it done.
Yeah, if it's a
And then the
material,
board could look at it from there.
it's a material thing versus a person,
Correct.
so then split wherever the cost is.
And I think it'd be good too, because for Title IX, at least we'll know what the cost, what the total cost of a program is. Right now, I don't think our school district knows what the total cost of one of our athletic programs is, because we have booster clubs making payments directly, and we don't know.
Well, let's be honest, if the sports in this high school were based on attendance and how many people come to an individual sport, we wouldn't have half the sports that we have right now. So thank God we do have booster clubs that can come up with, and make up that difference to help keep these programs going. I don't know how you do it, to be honest. It's a problem not only that we're facing as a board because of the lack of students, those leaving, but even our athletic programs are going through the same thing.
We can work on it, and any questions, and bring it up to the board for updates as you get, whenever you feel.
And Mr. Please, again, unless I'm missing the boat here, I don't see that a big change happening. I see that I'm a booster club, right, and I've got some cash,
Yep.
and I'm supporting a program. My coaching staff comes to the booster club and says, I'd like to get an additional coach. District paid for 3 or 4 or whatever, but I'd like to get another coach. And that's happening now, right?
Correct.
The only thing that would be different is, rather than the boosters working directly with that coach, they would just make the recommendation to us and it would come through the board, correct? Is that the only difference? Like,
That's my understanding, and that, this was, like I said, late, the first draft I sent to you and Trina didn't have the coaches part on it. That was added because there were some concerns
Right.
raised. So then I added the coaches piece in, because we do have some booster clubs that pay coaches directly, or some booster clubs have fun. I've invoiced a booster, football, we invoiced after the fact. They ran through payroll, we sent the invoice to them, they wrote us the check. So yeah, this is just flipping that process of, we just want it to come forward through you guys, fill it, make sure the paperwork's done. And we still wouldn't limit their ability to get these. If the booster clubs are agreeing to pay, it's kind of, that's where it's at.
And this isn't any additional, like, we're not putting an additional burden on the Booster Club. We're not saying
No,
now you have
these
to
are
pay
already
for 2 more coaches, we're just
Right.
saying if you're gonna pay for a coach, if you
Here's the process.
have worked it out with the coaching staff, then this is,
It is a change to
Yeah.
what some booster clubs have done, to Sarah's point, and is it necessary? That's kind of where I'm at with you guys, because it is under suggested. I mean, if that's, but that's where I'd leave it with you, and you tell me, you guys want me to do it this way, or do you want us to keep it rolling? Kind of where you're willing to accept that liability, as Director McLaughlin said, so.
I mean, just personally, you know, I think it should be under this envelope, because when things happen, and volunteer coaches or booster paid coaches, they're representing our school. And the public and the community doesn't see the difference between a booster paid coach and a school paid coach. And if we have a situation arises that we have to address it, right? We're pretty limited on what we can do if they're not our employee.
Yep.
I mean, other than just saying you can't come back, but I mean, so again, I think this is just kind of clean up our, I don't think it's gonna change anything really, it's just
I don't
the
think-
timing of when the payment happens is all it's gonna change.
And I don't think the issue comes with personnel with the coaches. I think it comes with that extra step of getting the equipment, you know.
Sure.
You know, the lag time in that. I mean, people, these booster clubs, most of them run very quick, very smooth, and they know exactly where they get things. It's a quick reorder, it's,
Yeah.
they don't need delays. And so this is now, okay, we've got to do the paperwork, we've got to wait till it processes. So maybe it's adding 2 days, maybe it's adding a week. I don't know, but
Okay.
I can see pushback on some of the things listed in this brochure.
And I think that's the other piece too, that, you know, you haven't taken that step yet, right? We need to sit down with the booster and have this conversation, right? This isn't it's not an ultimatum, right? It's,
Right.
we're trying to work together.
Yeah.
So we're all in a better spot. But, and again, you know, when you roll this out, please include me. I think it'd be good to include the board reps for athletics in this conversation with the boosters. I think Alex, making sure Alex and I are there, but I think it's a conversation. We're looking to do things cleaner, that's all. And it is, you know, there are situations that arise that, oh, we didn't know that person was working with the team. Or we didn't, you know, that happens all the time. James will come in and say, oh, so-and-so has left, and we didn't get a resignation, we didn't know they left, we didn't know a new person came in, and I'm not putting that on James, I'm just saying that it happens because I know what it's like when you're coaching, you just need somebody today, right? You grab somebody that's willing but that definitely hangs us out there for some liability.
Keep us posted, we get it going here,
I think if we do a workshop to finalize this, to see, it would be good to even invite some booster club representatives to be here and hear and have conversation and input. Because the other thing is, you know what, we need our booster clubs, and our parents do a lot of hard work. And based on what I hear too, right, like, I think you said this, Sarah, I don't want to put any booster clubs in such a bad situation where there's such tension and differences of opinion that really good volunteers say, you know what, I'm out of here, I'm not doing that. And we just need to set expectations.
we can have a committee put
Yes,
together.
yes.
Matter of fact, it's good. Go ahead, you, staff,
I'm sorry. The next item?
staff.
Thank you, James.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you, guys.
We're moving on, Mr. Please, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Mr. Please, thank you.
Yep.
And we'll work on that, we'll get her handled, Mr. Please, thank you though. Next we have Mr. Letzka. I believe, yes, he is here. Thank you.
I'm here.
I had some additional questions for Mr. Please. Mr. You want to come back up here? I'm joking.
okay, your time's up.
Yep, time's up. Just wanted to update the board and Superintendent Aldrich on some of the reviews that have been taking place. We had a pretty extensive desk review fiscal audit for special education that took several months. We got everything that was requested of our department to MDE. We're waiting for a response on our different items they wanted to look at. And basically, they do it on a risk assessment. And so instead of bringing their teams up to districts, they do most of it over online. So it kind of streamlines the process. So I will update the board once we get those findings, and I'm guessing it'll be in the next month. In addition to that, we had a extensive review of due process paperwork. Behind the scenes, I've been reviewing files from all the buildings. They were randomly selected by MDE, and they have a lead monitor that is working with me on those. To just give an idea how comprehensive that is, there are 457 regulations in an individual education plan, one. So there's a lot that goes into making sure that everything is covered in that IEP, and so that's a lot of time and things like that. But like I said, they've changed their kind of approach. They use the word assistance first rather than compliance. So assistant compliance, they reversed it. Actually, it's made a difference. So I'm happy to report that it's been a very streamlined process and they've been helpful. So thanks, that's all I got.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lefko.
Okay, with that, we'll go ahead and see committee reports. Maybe at the next meeting, we can see who wants to volunteer for the talk to Mr. Please.
I will.
Well, it's a start, and then we can go from there.
Well, I'd sure like to be involved if we get somebody from MDE to do a virtual training or workshop, or if we bring them here.
No, I mean on that 501c3
Yeah.
committee. Contact Mr. Please. Please. Thank you.
I'll be contacting you.
Thank you. Get you a little help here. Thank you. With that, we'll move to item 5, motion to approve the agenda.
I'll support.
Moved by Director Polter, supported by Director Gallant. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you. With that, we'll move to item 6, a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Support.
Moved by Director McLaughlin, supported by Director Polter. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you. With that, we'll move to item I, you want us to take over from, the district.
It's part of the consent.
Oh, yeah, that is part of it. We move to, and J was part of the consent. We move to item 7, administrative business. Turn that over. Pardon? Oh, no, we just moved to item 8, 7 here for administrative business. You'll have it for you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're welcome.
Item A is a motion to approve payment number 4, the final payment to Building Restoration Corporation in the amount of $14,357.85 for work done on the high school cleaning of exterior masonry.
So moved. I support.
Thank you. Moved by Director McLaughlin, supported by Director Gallant. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Item B is a motion to approve the 2025-2026 school calendar.
Support.
Moved by Director Gallant, supported by Director McLaughlin. Any discussion?
Just a quick question, I know that this, correct me if I'm wrong, this gets approved by, does this get approved by the union or?
Yep, so we work on a draft, and we share that with the teachers union, and they give their input, and so they basically set conference days and talked about some of the breaks, and yeah, but it's a collaboration.
Okay.
And this is based on a 5-day week,
This is based on a 5-day week, yes.
to clear the rumors.
No thoughts of a 4-day week at this point, no.
And so this then, also all of the, like the REDAC training, like the Mondays that we have off this year will not be next year?
Correct, yeah, we don't need
Okay.
all of that time. And you can notice there's not the every other week PLCs in here also, right? The teachers opted for full in-service days, but we have less of them this year.
Okay. And I know this comes up every year, just want to make sure, like,
Yep.
We're a district who does not do a spring break. And that must be because our staff, or it's agreed upon that that isn't what they want, so that's not here in the winter? Or
Well,
in the,
we have a spring break, it's just not very long.
yeah.
Right? We do Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then the Monday. This year we're doing the Monday, Tuesday. But, you know, we could do lots of different things with the calendar, right? There's contractual start and end times that we have to meet. That would just be if we wanted to add a spring break, if that was something that staff wanted, if the community wanted, we would just have to sit down and negotiate what that would look like.
No, I mean, if they don't want it, I mean, that's fine. I just, you know, it seems to always come up, and I was just making sure that that, you know, is discussed and that this was approved by our union
Yes,
staff. So,
yep, they get input.
Okay.
And really, you know, like I said, selected where a lot of the days would fall.
Perfect, thank you.
You're welcome.
Good discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you. With that, I'm going to turn it over to our clerk to go through the motions from items C through R. Director Polter.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Item D, item C, motion to adopt the resolution relating to the termination and non-renewal of the teacher contract of Matthew Anderson, probationary teacher. Just do them all.
No, we
No,
would
we'll
need
do
a,
one at a time. We have a motion.
So,
yes.
Motion made by Director Polter, supported by Director Duarte. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Just as a sidebar here, this is one of the toughest things that the school board has to do, but it's a necessity, so.
Item D, motion to adopt the resolution relating to the termination and non-renewal of the teacher contract of Kylie Christensen, probationary teacher.
So,
Moved by Director Duarte, or Polter, supported by Director Duarte. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried, thank you.
Item E, motion to adopt the resolution relating to the termination and non-renewal of the teacher contract of Katia Hayes, probationary teacher.
Moved by Director Polter, supported by Director Egan. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried, thank you.
Item F, motion to adopt a resolution relating to termination and non-renewal of the teacher contract of Kristen Jamagni, a probationary teacher.
The chair will second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried, thank you.
Item G, motion to adopt a resolution relating to termination and non-renewal of the teacher contract of Alicia Conacher, probationary teacher.
So,
Moved by Director Duarte, or Polter, and supported by Director Duarte. Any discussion?
Chair, can I
Yes.
just make a comment, and it could fit within any one of these, but you know what, I mean, as you said, this is very difficult, and with the spirited conversation that we had with Mr. Please, I don't want anybody to leave this room thinking this does not at least have my full attention. I can't speak for the full board, but we've been working very hard to try to speak up and get meetings going with our elected officials, because this is a top priority, and I want you to know, and I'm sure my board colleagues would echo, we believe in all these people and all the positions, and it's not just a line item on here, and we're working really hard to try to get the attention of somebody at the state level that can help us. We know there's no money, right? Like, we know there's no money, but there's policy changes that we're hoping that they would consider that might affect things that affect the bottom line and the funding we get. So I just had to say that because it feels very impersonal, and it's not. If we didn't believe in all these positions and all the good work everybody does, our entire staff, faculty, administrators, you wouldn't have been here. And we want everybody here, so I don't want you to think we spoke for how long about some policy and are taking this lightly, because I know I'm not, and I know I've been on the phone most of the weekend with Superintendent Aldrich. We've been working with Rams. We're trying to get attention across our area, so I just had to say that.
If I can add to that a little bit, I've been on this board for 15 years, and this is probably the most painful board meeting I've had to come to in 15 years, outside of maybe COVID. I take this personal, in a sense. These are kids in our family. I mean, some of these guys have only been here a short time, but they're still part of this district, and it pains me to have to be part of this process. It's unfortunate, but hopefully we can bring some back. I think that's our goal, is to provide a place for the staff that are going to be leaving this. It's sad. So,
And I've been here for 30 years, and this is the worst I've seen. It really hits hard. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried, thank you.
Item H, motion to adopt a resolution relating to the termination and non-renewal of the teacher contract for Caitlin Schreiner, probationary teacher.
Moved by Director Duarte, or Polter, supported by Director Duarte. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried, thank you.
Item I, motion to adopt a resolution relating to the termination and non-renewal of the teacher contract with Spencer Schatz, a probationary teacher.
Moved by Director Polter, supported by Director Christine. I'll say. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried, thank you.
Item J, motion to adopt a resolution relating to the termination and non-renewal of the teacher contract with Haley Willard, probationary teacher.
Support.
Moved by Director Polter, supported by Director Egan. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried, thank you.
Item K, motion to adopt a resolution proposing to place Tina Carlson on unrequested leave of absence.
Chair will support. Moved by Director Polter, supported by Chair Berklich. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried, thank you.
Item L, motion to adopt a resolution proposing to place Franklin D.J. Jones on unrequested leave of absence.
Moved by Director Polter, supported by Director Duarte. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried, thank you.
Item M, motion to adopt a resolution proposing to place Lillian Christie on unrequested leave of absence.
Support.
Motion by Director Polter, supported by Director McLaughlin. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried, thank you.
Item N, motion to adopt the resolution proposing to place Linda Larson on unrequested leave of absence.
Support.
Moved by Director Polter, supported by Director Egan. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you.
Item O, motion to adopt the resolution proposing to place Daniel Murfeld on unrequested leave of absence.
Support.
Moved by Director Polter, supported by Director Egan. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried, thank you.
Item P, motion to adopt the resolution proposing to place Leanne Shubb Johnson on unrequested leave of absence.
Motion by Director Polter, supported by Director Duarte. Any discussion?
Before we continue back, can we just explain what a unrestricted leave of absence is in case some of the people out there don't know?
Yep, so the teachers in items A through J are probationary teachers, so they haven't reached continuing contract status. So then the teachers in items K through R do have continuing contract status. So the procedure to non-renew, a probationary teacher and a teacher with continuing contract is different. There's some different
Just for the
requirements,
public,
yes.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Could you, I got a question with that, between the non-renewal and the unrequested leave of absence, then which group gets a call back first? Or is there not a specific, it does not work?
No,
as a
no,
specific
anyone
group?
anyone that's on ULA that has continuing contract rights, then wherever they fall in seniority, they would be the first call back or depending.
Before the people on the non-renewal?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for the clarifications. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried, thank you.
Item Q, motion to adopt a resolution proposing to place Peter Keehan on unrequested leave of absence.
Support.
Motion by Director Polter, supported by Director McLaughlin. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried, thank you.
Item R, motion to adopt a resolution proposing to place Darrell D.J. Ziski on unrequested leave of absence.
Moved by Director Polter, supported by Director Duarte. Any discussion? Hearing none, all, go
So
ahead.
just to finish clarifying the process, the next step will be is that decisions will be made and finalized on the movement of people to fill spots now and how it's going to be, pieces are all going to be moved. And existing faculty will have an opportunity to accept what their new teaching position is, or if they don't, then they would resign.
So if we, yes, if we're moving a teacher, right, based on the scenarios that we have here, yes, that's would be the assignment that we're offering. And if they chose not to accept it, then you would either, they would be fulfilling their contract or they would resign, yes.
Can you, so on this list here, I look at the positions, I see special ed, I see title, social worker, behavioral interventionist, and I know that, those positions give a lot of support to our teachers and our students with higher needs. And I know that that's come up, earlier in the year of the struggles that are happening in our buildings. And I guess, can you just state like what we're doing so that we're not just leaving those buildings, that we're not leaving those staff members just hung out to dry, what we're gonna do to continue that support, because I see some teachers here today who, did speak up about needing or wanting more help, concern about student behavior, and I just feel like we can't just leave them and not support them, and, what is our plan there to continue, when we're losing some of those staff members, what is our plan to put in place so that support is given?
Well, the reality is that in some instances it won't be, right? I mean, that the service that our social workers provided, that isn't something that somebody's just gonna be able to pick up, right? The many home visits and the focus on truancy and absence, there are gonna be places that aren't gonna be supported as well as they were. I mean, we've been very methodical in what we've done and looking at assignments for next year, and also, we have had some changes even recently at the Washington, just this last week, where we will have some sped support there, additional sped support, and also our North Homes partners are also putting another full-time person in that building to help support. But I don't I don't like to say, but things are gonna be different. We can't cut these many people and not expect that everything's just gonna be the same next year. It won't be. It's gonna be much different. We have to work together and do the best that we can.
Thank you. Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
I-
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you. That's the end of that. With that, we'll move to item 8, discussion items.
Can I ask a question? Do we think, we got some additional funding from the county last year to extend some of our behavioral
The check and
supports?
connect positions at the high school, yes.
Might they have some funding that we could look to see if they had any funding? So some of the supports that we're eliminating, maybe they would help us fund?
I can certainly try.
We'll be looking wherever we can.
I know that, that support that they gave out for Check and Connect, and they also granted our district some funds. That was all part of their COVID monies, and they were cleaning up the end of their COVID monies, and that's how we got this additional Check and Connect support. But I think they're in a similar situation to most entities.
And I say that because I know we're not alone in this, so if we start requesting, probably 90% of the school districts in our
Yep.
county would be requesting.
Okay, do you have anything?
I had a couple of things, Mr. Chair, if I could. Just one, and I would bring this to the board because we'd be adjusting the calendar at the next meeting. But again, just with the Greenhaven remodel that's coming up this summer, the Greenhaven staff won't have time to do any prep, to clean up their room, to kind of close out the year. So what I'd like to do is have the Greenhaven staff, when we come back from Memorial Day break, in that last week of school, that they would have one additional day without students, with the other staff members in the district would have students, just to give them that day. I don't have the date on me, I'm sorry what date it was, but it would be right at the end. Their last day for students would just be one day earlier than everybody else's. And that would give them a full day to do some packing. So and I didn't want to bring that forward if that's not something that you're in favor of or would support. So just was hoping to get a head nod from you, and I'll bring that to the next meeting and we can talk about it further, and I'll have dates lined up. Mr. Bestel's been pretty adamant that he's going to need some additional time, so I at least wanted to put it on your radar.
Put it on the next schedule.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, board meeting, we'll discuss it.
And the only other thing would be just about upcoming board meeting, to have a discussion about that.
Board meeting will be Tuesday, 4/22/25 at 8 a.m. It's a change from the 23rd, so. With that,
Can I make one comment, please, if I could?
sure.
This is out for all the teachers and staff that are affected by what we did here today. And on a personal note, and as an employer in this community, it's very hard to let someone go that's put their heart and soul into their job. And I mean, I wish we had the funding. And the only way we're going to get, and we're not the only one in the same boat. Duluth, same. Rockridge, the same. Until this, and I hate to get political because this is your jobs and I'm sorry this happened, but until this government of ours in the state of Minnesota decides that what to do when we go from a $19 billion deficit or surplus to a $9 billion deficit, it's a shame of what this legislature, the governor, and what they've done to this state as far as how they handle education. You know, they keep telling, oh, education's our #1 priority, we're gonna make sure that it's taken care of. And as you can see from what is happening here in this district and all the other districts in the state of Minnesota, it's not happening. And until something is done, and as an individual, all I can do is talk to my representative, well, you can do that. But I just want to say from the bottom of my heart that I hate this that's happened, especially when I don't know a lot of the individuals that we let go here today, Mr. Murfield, I know well over the years, and what he's done, not only as a teacher, but a coach, and how difficult it has to be for him, and even for this district to lose these people. I mean, it's just, the ones that work so hard and put their sweat and effort into it, and then we say goodbye because we don't have the money to do it. I wish I could say I could find it's unacceptable. Unfortunately, it is a reality, and until something's done with the political climate in this state of Minnesota, to put the emphasis back on education instead of taking care of other.
And it doesn't look good for the
I'm
next
sorry.
3 years according to the state.
It just bothers me that this has happened to a lot of good people there. So that's my.
Thank you, Director Polter.
Motion to adjourn?
Without objection, meeting's adjourned. It's at 4:40. I'd like to thank everybody for coming here and wish it was better news.
Hibbing Public Access TV may be viewed on these platforms: hpat.org with video on demand, Mediacom Hibbing 802, 805, and 807. On Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV. Download the Hibbing Public Access TV app for your iPhone and Android devices. Find us on Facebook, YouTube, and Vimeo. For more information, scan the QR code and go to hpat.org. Hibbing Public Access Television would like to thank Mediacom for all the years they have supported our organization. Visit their office at 3105 East Beltline, Suite number 2 here in Hibbing, and give them a call at 855-633-4226. For over 25 years, U.S. Bank, located at 211 East Howard Street in Hibbing, Minnesota, has provided office and studio space for Hibbing Public Access Television. We are thankful for their ongoing support.